In this video, we'll be seeing how to implement login and registration in Android using Firebase. So this is the demo of what we are going to do in this video. Let's try registering a user. Let's click register. And now you can see the registration is successful and we are also logged into the app. So you can see the email and we are also having a logout button. So let's try logging out. Now we are on the login screen. Let's try logging in with the credential that we created. Let's try logging in. Now you can see the login is also successful. Let's try entering some wrong credentials. Now you can see the toast message on the bottom saying authentication failed. So this is what we are going to do in this video. First of all, go to firebase.google.com and you have to click get started, or you have to go to the console. Now here you have to create a new project. And here you can see you have to give a name for your project. I have given the name for the project. Now you have to accept the terms and click continue. For this video, we'll not be using Google Analytics. So I'm going to turn this off and click create project. Now you can see the project is ready. Now you can click continue. Okay, now you can see the project. Now here you have to go to the left and you can see the build option. Inside that, go to authentication. And you have to click on get started. For this video, we'll be using email and password to sign in and sign up. So you have to enable this. We will not be using passwordless sign in, so no need to enable it. So click save. That's all. Now you have to go to Android Studio. Here you can see I have created a new project. Now this is an empty project. You can see that I haven't done anything. So we'll be seeing how to connect Firebase. So go to the tools on the menu and you can see Firebase. So click Firebase. Here you can see the authentication. So click here and we have to enable the authenticate using a custom authentication system. So click that and click on connect to Firebase. Click build. Now if it is not connecting, you can click it once more. Now it will open the browser. So make sure that you are connected to the Google account that you want to use for this project. And now you have to select the project. So we have created one project right now. So click that. Now you can see the Android Studio is getting connected to the Firebase. Okay, now the Firebase is connected. So your project is now connected to the Android Studio. Now we have to add Firebase Authentication SDK. So click on this button and click accept. Now if you go to Gradle scripts and choose the first one, you can see minimize the Firebase here and you can see the Google services has been added. You can update the version. So simply hover over this and click change the version to 4.3.14. Okay. Now you have to use the latest version and click sync now. And you can do the same for the second build.gradle. And come here, you can see the Firebase is added here. If it is showing a yellow warning, you simply have to click here and type Alt Enter. And you simply have to choose the latest version. That's all. Now click sync now. Now you can close the build Gradle. Now we have Firebase connected and we are having the SDK with the latest versions. So firstly, we have to create two new activities. So go to new and select activity, empty activity. Now this activity will be for login. Now you can set this activity as launcher activity and click finish. Now you have to do the same for registration. Now you have to go to the Firebase login registration. So click here and select activity, empty activity. Now this activity will be for login. Now you can set this activity as launcher activity and click finish. Now you have to do the same for registration. Now you have to do the same for registration. Now you have to do the same for registration. Now here in the case of registration, you don't have to click the launcher activity option. Now click finish. Now we are having two new activities, that is login and registration. So you can go to RIS layout and you can see the register XML file and login XML file. So first of all, we will be designing the login form and the registration form. So go to the login and you can split. So you can view the code and also the design. Now, first of all, we'll be changing the parent layout to linear layout. Set the orientation to vertical. Okay, now you can also set a gravity and have set the gravity center. Okay, now inside this, we have to create a text view and show something like login. And also we need edit text for email and password. Then we'll be creating a button. So let's add a text view first. Now we can give the text login. Now you can make this as a string. So for that you simply have to click on this and type Alt plus enter. Okay. So throughout the video, I'll be doing this fast. So you should understand that. Now you can see that we have added the text to the strings.xml file. If you want to see that, you can go to values and you can see strings.xml. Now you can see new string added and you can see the name and the text. See, that's all. Now I'll be doing this throughout the video faster, so you should understand that. Now we have to add two edit text. Now we'll be using text input layout and inside that we'll be adding the text input edit text. Match parent, warp content. Now open this. Inside that we'll be adding the edit text. Text input edit text. Now you can add an ID for this. Give the ID email. You can give an hint. Okay, now we have added the edit text for email. Now we can copy this and paste below that. This will be for password. So change the ID to password and also change the hint. Now you can see that I am adding this to strings. Now below this, we have to add a button. Warp content, close the button and collapse the tags. That's all. Give the ID for the button. Now the ID could be like login button. So btn login. Okay. Now that's all. Now we can design this text view login a bit. So let's add a text size. Now we can style this to bold. Okay, now we can center this. So give a gravity. Center. Okay. Okay, now that's all. Now if you want to give a margin bottom, you can give that. Okay. If you want to increase the text to a bigger size, you can do that. Okay. Now on the parent layout, you can give a small padding. Okay, now you can see we haven't given text for the button. So go to the button and give a text. So let's give the button login. Okay, so we are already having a text inside the strings. So you can access it like @strings login. So you can simply start typing login and it will show the suggestion. See, that's all. Now we have completed designing the login part. So you can copy this from here and paste it on registration. So go to the activity registration XML file and go to the split mode and select this and paste it. Now go to the top and you have to change this to register. Okay. Now for registration, we need to change this text. So change the text. Now we can change the text for the button also. Also change the ID for the button. So let's change it to BTN register. Now for registration, we need email, password. So we'll be only using email and password for now. Okay, so our fields are ready. We'll not be changing the ID. We'll be keeping it same. Okay. So we have also completed the designing part of registration. Now you can go to the manifest. Now here we have to add permission for internet. Now here you can see the login activity is set to launcher. Okay. So this will be the first activity that opens when you open the app. Okay. Now you can see this is also set as launcher. You can remove this because we already have a launcher. Okay. Now we'll be setting the parent theme to something else because I'll not be concentrating on designing much. So let's set it to theme dot material 3 dot. Now the dark, we'll be using the light. Okay, so we'll be using this theme. Okay. Now we can also set that for registration and login, but we'll be using the one with no action bar. Okay, you can see the theme. This is the theme with no action bar. Copy this and add this to login as well. Okay, so our designing part is also done. So we'll not be doing much designing. So this is what we are going to do. If you try to run this, you can see how it looks. Now here you can see the app has opened. So this is the UI, how it looks. Okay, so let's minimize this. Go to the register Java part. Now here we have to initialize objects for the edit text and the button. Now inside the onCreate, we have to initialize these objects. So here we have declared the objects. Inside this, we'll be initializing them. Now you can see we have initialized the objects with find view by ID, and we have used the ID that we have given before. So if you want to see the IDs, simply click here, click Control, and you can click it with the mouse. Now it will show that we are having two layout files. So the registration and the login. So if you want to go to the registration, click the activity register.xml and you can see the email ID. Okay. So let's go to register.java. Now we have to set an on-click listener for the button. So button reg dot set on-click listener, new on-click listener. Now inside this, we have to read the text from edit text. So for that, we can create string, email, and password. Now we have to read the email and password. So email equal to, now the object that is email, edit text email dot get text dot toString. Now we have to do the same for the password. So instead of this toString, we can use string dot value of. So come here and we'll be writing string dot value of. So do the same for the password as well. Okay, now we have to check if the email and password is empty or not. For that, if text utils dot is empty. Inside that, we have to pass the email. Now inside this if condition, if the email is empty, we can show a toast message. Now let's do the same for password. Now inside the if condition, we can type return, and here as well. Now after checking if the email and password is empty or not, we have to implement the code for creating the user. For that, go to the Firebase documentation. So go to this URL. I will give the link for this documentation URL on the description, so you can check that out. Now go to this URL and you have to scroll down. Here you can see the code to create the user. So create the user with email and password. Okay, so copy this and paste the code here. Now you can see this object is showing in red. So for that, go to the top and we have to create Firebase auth. Now we have to go inside the onCreate inside here, and we have to type mauth equal to Firebase auth dot get instance. Okay, now we have initialized the object. Now we can come here and we have to import all these classes. So simply click on the red and you can import the class. That's all. So you can remove this log because we will not be using the log, and import the Firebase user. Okay, remove the log again. Okay, that's all. Now remove this function, these two functions, and we have to change this to register. So now you can see a small error here. So you have to remove this from here, and that's all. Now you can see the error has gone. Okay. And we don't need this line because we'll be only showing a toast message because we are doing the registration part. Okay. Now here inside this, we are passing the email and password. You can see these strings here. Okay. We are fetching the values from the edit text and we are passing it here. Okay. And if the task is successful, we'll show a toast message. So you can copy this from here and paste it here, and you can show some toast message like account created. Now after this toast message, we can open the login. So before that, if you want to show a progress bar, we have to go to the activity register.xml file and we have to add a progress bar. So scroll down and we can add the progress bar here before the button. So add a progress bar and warp content and warp content. Now we can give an ID for the progress bar. We have to set the visibility to gone. Okay, now we have set the progress bar on the register XML file. So we can copy this from here and add it on the login part as well. Okay, now we can go to the button, and before the button, we can paste the progress bar. Okay. Now we can go back to the register Java part and we have to initialize the object for progress bar. So go to the top, progress bar. Now we have declared the object for progress bar. Now let's initialize that. Find view by ID, r.id dot progress bar. Okay. Now you can see a small red line here. We can simply ignore that. When we run the app, it will go away. Okay. Now we have set the progress bar. Now we have to set the visibility for the progress bar. So inside the on click, you can see here, we have to add the visibility for the progress bar. Progress bar dot set visibility. For that, we have to use view dot visible. Okay. Now the progress bar will be visible. Now after completing the task, we have to set the visibility to gone. So for that, you can come inside the on complete, and here we have to set the progress bars visibility to gone. And we have to add this for the else part as well. So we can cut this from here and add it before the if condition. Okay. Now we have set the progress bar as well. Now we can see we have completed the registration part. Now if you want to open the login screen from the registration, we have to add a text view. So for that, you can go to the registration and on the bottom, we can add a text view, warp content. Now set the width to match parent. Okay, give an ID, login now. Okay, we can also set the text, click to login. Okay, let's add this to the strings, alt enter, and okay. Now we can go to the split mode and okay, let's zoom this. Okay, now we can see the text is here. Now let's add some styling to the text view. So I have added the text view to bold and given it a size 20 sp. Also given a gravity of center and also added a margin top 20 dp. Okay. Now we can copy this text view from here and we can paste it on activity login.xml on the bottom. We can paste it here. Okay, now we have to change the ID to register now. And we can also change the text. Click to register. Okay, now we have added the text view to the both XML files. Now we can go to the register.java and here we have to create an object for the text view. Now let's initialize the text view. Now you have to make sure that the ID that you are using here should be exactly matching to the one that you have used on the XML part. Okay, so we are using login now here. This is the activity register.xml. Okay, so we are using the same ID. Now we can set the on-click listener for the text view. Inside this, we'll be creating an intent to open the login activity. Now we have to start the activity. For that, call start activity and pass the object intent. Now we have to finish the current activity. For that, call finish. That's all. Now we have done that part. Now we have completely done the registration part. Now we can move to the login part. So go to the login.java part. You can copy some objects from the register.java. So go to register.java and copy this much. You can paste it here. Let's format the code. Okay. Now we have to initialize the objects. For that also you can go to the register.java. Before that we have to change the object names. Here you can see the button object name is button reg. So change this to button login. Okay, that's all. Now you can go to the register.java and copy this much. Okay, you can copy this much and you can paste it on the onCreate method. Okay, now we have to change the button object name and we have to change the IDs because you can see the ID. This is the ID that we have used on the registration part. So change this to the login button, that is okay, btn login. Okay. Okay, you have to make sure the ID is correct, otherwise you will be getting errors. And the text view ID also is different. Register now. Okay, you have to make sure the ID is correct. Okay, this is very important part, otherwise you will get errors. Okay, and we'll be opening the registration activity. So change this to register and that's all. Now after this you have to create an on-click listener for the button. So come here and button login dot set on click listener. Inside this, we can copy some things from the registration. So go to registration.java, and here we can copy this much and paste it here, and change the class name to login here as well. Now everything else is fine, and we have to come below this if condition. Okay. Now here we have to call a function called sign in with email and password. So for that you can go to the Firebase documentation, and now we can scroll down, and I will give the link for this documentation on the description. And here you can see this, we have to copy this from here and we can paste it here. Okay, and we have to import the classes. So click on the error and type Alt plus enter. We can remove the log and all. So let's remove this much. Remove these from here as well. We need the toast message, so you can keep the toast message. Change the activity name to login. Now you can see the same error that we faced before. You simply have to remove this from here. Okay, that's all. Okay, you don't have to use this from here. Okay, so here inside the onComplete method, if the task is successful, we can show a toast message. Now after the toast message, we have to create an intent to open the main activity. So intent equal to new intent get application context, and the next one is main activity dot class. Start the activity. Now we have to call the finish. Okay, now this will close the login and open the main activity. Okay, that's all. Now inside the onComplete, we have to set the progress bar visibility to go on. Progress bar set visibility gone. Okay, now that's all. We have done the login part as well. So we have to check if the person is already logged in. So for that, you can go to the Firebase documentation and you can scroll to the top and you can see this. Okay, this on start. So copy this and you can paste it above the on create method. Import the class. So here you can see the current user is not equal to null. We'll be opening the main activity. Okay, so you can copy the intent from here. Okay, this one, and we can paste it here. Okay, we can remove the comment. Okay, now this will check if the user is already logged in, and if the user is already logged in, it will open the main activity. That's all. Now we can copy this from here and paste it on the registration part as well. On the top, we can paste it here. Okay, that's all. Now we can move to the main activity because we have completed the login part as well. So go to the main activity Java part. So here we'll be implementing the logout button and we'll be also displaying the email. So go to the activity main.xml and go to split mode. Change the parent layout to linear layout. Set the orientation to vertical. And also add the gravity. Now we can remove these. And we can add an ID for the text view. Now we can also create a button for logout. Give an ID for the button. Let's give an ID logout. Also give a text for the button. Okay, now you can see that we are having a button and also a text view. Okay, now we have to go to the activity main Java part, that is main activity. And here we have to create some objects on the top. Firebase auth and also one button and a text view. Also one for Firebase user. Now inside the onCreate method, we have to initialize them. So auth equal to Firebase auth dot get instance. Now we have to initialize the button and the text view. Now let's initialize the current user, that is user. So user equal to auth dot get current user. Okay, so this will get the current user. Now we can check if the user is null or not. If user equal to null, open the if condition, and here if the user is equal to null, we have to open the login activity and close the main activity. So create an intent for that. Now you can see if the user is equal to null, we will finish the current activity and open the login activity. Okay, now let's set the email and also set the logout button. So here on the else part, we can set the text view. So for that, text view dot set text. So inside that, you can get the email by using user dot get email. Okay, now this will set the email of the user. After this, you can set an on-click listener for the button. Button dot set on-click listener. Now inside this, we can sign out the user. So for that, Firebase auth dot get instance dot sign out. Now this will sign out the user from the Firebase. Now we have to close the current activity and open the login activity. So you can copy this intent from here and paste it here. Okay. Now that's all. I think the implementation is completed. So you can see these errors. You can simply ignore them. So let's try running this and check. Now you can see that the app has opened. Now let's go to the registration and let's create a new user. Now let's try creating the user. So click on register. Okay, now you can see a toast message, account created. Now the login page is not opening because we haven't added the intent to open the login page. So go to the register Java part. Let's minimize the emulator. And here we have to add the intent for opening the login. So you can copy that from here and paste it here. Okay, now this will open the login activity after registration. Now let's try running this. When we open the app again, you can see that the user is logged in. So we have to log out. So click on logout. Okay, now you can see the registration. So go to registration and let's try registering a new user. Let's try registering this user. Okay, now you can see the user is created and we are redirected to the login page. And from the login page, we are redirected to the main activity. So you can see that. And here you can see the user email is printed and the logout button. So let's try logging out. Now let's try logging in with the user that we created before. Okay, let's try logging in. Okay, you can see that the login is successful, and let's try logging out. Okay, now everything is successful. So let's go to the Firebase console and check the user details. So you can go to the Firebase console, and here we are having two users. One is with the email support@codecc.com and the other is this one. Okay, so we created two users and they both are here. Okay. Now that's all. Hope you understand how to implement login and registration using Firebase in Android. If you want the full source code for this project, you can come to this URL. I will give the link on the description. You can check that out and you can download the source code from here. So if you have any doubts, you can leave the comment and I will respond to your comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more such videos.